In the last section, we learned about the basic structure of an HTML page, things like the doc type, the HTML tag, and how content goes into the body tag. Now in this episode, we're going to take a step further and talk about how to format text properly, and more importantly, how to give your content meaning. Because HTML isn't just about putting text on a page, it's about telling the browser what that text is and why it matters. That's where semantic comes in. Semantic just means meaningful. When you use the right HTML tag for something, you're helping the browser, search engines, and screen readers understand your content. And that makes your web page not only more accessible, but also easier to maintain and rank better on Google. Alright, so let's jump in the code. This code that you can see right here is from the previous section. I'm going to go ahead and delete this code and start from scratch. First thing that we are going to talk about is a div. We have a div tag that is a section or a container. It does nothing, but it just groups content together. For example, in the previous lesson, we learned about the h1 tag, and we know that this is a title. With div, we can create a container to hold other elements. I'm going to change the title to something like I love HTML, and then I'm going to add a paragraph tag, and I'm going to write that is the reason I try to learn HTML. Then I'm going to duplicate this line down, and I'm going to change it to something like I love CSS. And that is the reason I try to learn CSS. You can see that this div tag holds the content and it groups stuff together. So this div, which comes from the division, just divides the content. Let's go ahead and run this. I'm going to click on go live. And this is the code that we have. You can see we have this title and then we have this p tag. And you can see that the div tag doesn't have any visual effect. So this div tag doesn't have any semantic meaning. It doesn't tell the browser what the content is. It just groups things together. So we're going to be using this div tag a lot in this course. And actually, we're going to explore the reason we use this div tag inside CSS. All right, so now that we have these titles and these paragraphs in two groups, let's learn about new tags. One of the cool tags is strong. All you have to do is just type strong and hit enter. This strong tag makes any content bold. So I'm just gonna cut the closing tag and put the HTML inside. Right now, you cannot see any effects on the HTML here because it's already a bold text. Remember that all headings are bold, so making them strong won't change anything. So let's do the same on learn HTML. Technically, we can just write strong again here and put the opening tag and the closing tag. But inside VS Code, we can select the text that we want and hit Ctrl-Shift-P or Command-Shift-P on Mac and search for wrap, and it will show you this Emmet snippet says that wrap with abbreviation, and hit enter, and then it will ask you enter the abbreviation, and I'm gonna write strong. And as you can see, as I typed strong, it just wrapped the text with strong, and I'm gonna hit enter, and you can see it just wrapped the text with strong. This is another beauty of VS Code. Now you can see that it's bold, and that's the exact same thing that strong does. Strong is a semantic tag. It adds meaning to the content. Remember that previously this p tag or this paragraph was just a simple text. Now you wrapped some part of it with this strong. That means this part is important. Strong makes the content bold, but making bold is a bonus. The real point of using strong is adding semantic weight. Another tag that we can use for the same reason is EM tag. And EM does the similar thing. I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to say wrap with abbreviation, and I'm going to type EM. EM stands for emphasize, and it will emphasize on the text that we wrap inside. In this case, Learn CSS has the italic style. And imagine like you're talking and sometimes you raise your voice just to emphasize on something. And this EM does the similar thing inside HTML. if you take a look at the CSS part, you can see that there's a CSS for the EM, and it says that font style is italic. So this is the reason EM will make your font italic. Well, if you select the strong tag, inside the CSS, you can see that the strong tag has the font weight of bolder. So that's the reason it is bold. So in CSS, later in the course, we can change the style and add any shapes and style that we want. Another tag is U tag. So in this case, I'm going to cut the reason, type U, and now paste the reason. This U is stand for underline. By the way, inside VS Code, if you hover over any tag, you can see the MDN reference of the tag. Remember that in VS Code, you can hover your cursor over any tag and you can see the MDN reference for that. If you watch the first section of this course, we talked about the MDN, where I explored the meaning of the HTML and CSS from MDN. And I mentioned there that MDN is a good reference for the web. So anything you want to know about, you can hover over your cursor. And of course, you can use AI chatbot or AI stuff to learn and explore more. And I actually highly recommend that. So now let's just save and take a look at the page here. You can see reason is underlined. Again, if we select the reason, you can see it has this U tag around it. And inside the CSS, you can see that it has the style called text decoration underline. That is the reason it is underlined. It doesn't come from anywhere but CSS. I don't recommend using U tag a lot because it makes the text underline and it feels like a link, but it is not a link. So it creates confusion in any websites. So the next thing that we're going to explore is the S tag. Here, S tag is for strike through, and I'm going to put the try to inside a S tag, and let's see what's going on. You can see there's a line on top of it. It has the strike through style. So inside here, you can see it has this S tag, and text decoration this time is line through. All right. Instead of S tag, we can also use delete tag or del. And I'm going to change this closing tag as well. And you can see it has the same similar thing. If I select this, you can see delete tag or del tag, and text decoration is line through. By the way, when I tried to change the S to delete, I had to change it on the closing tag as well. This is a good time to install a new plugin to make our life easier. So let's go to Extensions tab and search for Auto Rename Tag. There we go. You can see it has over 22 million installs. Just install this extension and it will make our life really easy. Now that it's installed, let's go back to the Explorer. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Close this tab. Now, if I try to change the starting tag, let's set it back to S tag, you can see the closing tag changes automatically. Let me scroll a little bit down. Let's change this S tag back to delete tag. And you can see it automatically changes the closing tag as well. Beautiful. Another tag that we can explore is block quotes. So just type block quote and write something in it. Let's go ahead with something like is a block, like that. And if you see that, you can see there's a small space before the text. This is the quote effect. And you can see there's this block quote here. And for the CSS, you can see that it has this margin start some value. So making something block quote, you can see there's a space in between that. By the way, as I mentioned before, if you want to see styles for any element, just click on the element inside the HTML section and it will show you the CSS. It's not necessary for now, but it's good to see the CSS properties before going inside CSS. All right, there's another cool feature in VS Code that if you try to write some text and the text is not really important, in this case, we just wanted to showcase the block quote tag and the text inside was not really necessary, we can use the lorem ipsum. So all you have to do is write lorem and hit enter, and it will automatically generate some text for you, like this. I'm going to remove this and I'm going to write like lorem 5 and hit enter. It will create me 5 words. You can see we have 5 words here. Or I can say like lorem 20. It will create 20 words for me. This is the beauty of VS Code. So now it's really easy to inspect the web. So it's really easy to understand the difference. All right, so let's put a p tag before and write a lorem like 100 texts. I'm going to bring this tag from here and set it inside the p tag like this. And let's go back to the browser. Here, you can visually see the difference between a block quote and other text here. All right, I'm going to remove this p tag because it's really long. And I'm going to actually remove the bottom section as well and remove the title here as well. I'm going to just focus on this p tag. I'm going to type lorem. We're just going to focus on this p tag here. So this is what we have. Another useful tag that we have is code tag that allows you to write programming languages inside. For example, it's not important to understand it yet, but this is a valid JavaScript line. So inside the web page, you can see the font for that is different than the font for other text. Let's inspect this and you can see the font family is monospace. So these are the semantic tags. Of course, we can create a p tag and put the text and with CSS change the font family to something like monospace. But as I mentioned before, with semantic HTML, we give it meaning. So this is the markup side of the HTML. When the search engine and the browser look at this piece of code here, they understand that this is a code, meaning this is a valid programming language code and it's not a normal text. That's why we call it semantic. All right, another tag that we have is pre, which stands for pre-formatted. So inside the definition for that, you can see it says a block of pre-formatted text. So everything you write inside this pre tag, it will stay the same. For example, I'm going to copy this text from the p tag and bring it inside the pre. Right now, if we take a look at this, you can see it has this overflow. And the reason this happens because we wrote the text in a way that there's no enter in between. For p tag, browser will automatically format the text. But for pre, we have to do it manually. So for example, I put some like enters here and I'm going to save it and you can see it shows up exactly the same way. So this is the reason it's called pre. It's a pre-formatted. Usually what we do, we put the code inside the pre tag. And you might notice that prettier doesn't work inside the pre tag. So we have to format the code manually like this. So the next tags that we're going to explore usually about numbers. We're going to say something like 12, 12, and I'm going to wrap the 12, the second 12, on the sub tag. So sub is just about subscript. So you can see it goes down a little bit. Usually in math, you might see something like this. Just like sub, we also have sub or superscript, and this time it goes to the top section. All right, so it was all about text formatting and text semantics. In the next video, we're going to explore the semantic structure. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.